Okay. So, in the 2022 primary, Dusty Johnson's running Republican Gentry,
Hmm.
and he narrowly escapes.
Yes. Hmm.
He was in a statewide race,
Yes.
right? He's so excited by that, he's running for governor again.
Yeah. Hmm.
Does he stand a chance?
That's a fascinating question. So the Republican primary for governor in South Dakota is incredibly crowded right now. You have Dusty Johnson, of course, and then you have, and he's on the more establishment wing. And then you have John Hanson, who is the current Speaker of the South Dakota House of Representatives, and he's far on the MAGA wing. In particularly, there have been a few statewide ballot measures concerning abortion, and he has been on the pro-birth side of all of those, really leading the way. And then you have this guy named Toby Doden, who is a crypto millionaire out of Aberdeen, South Dakota, who has bankrolled the furthest of the right wing primary challengers, a bunch of whom won. And also, there's a current controversy in South Dakota over ethanol pipelines and the eminent domain, or pardon me, not ethanol, well, ethanol pipelines in a roundabout way. And the use of eminent domain for them, they wanted to run this Iowa company. There's nothing South Dakota hates more than Iowa and Iowa companies. And this Iowa company wanted to run a carbon capture pipeline through South Dakota. And in order to do that, they were going to have to use eminent domain on a bunch of farmland to run the pipeline under it. And the farmers said, no, it might be bad for my soil. I don't like the Green New Deal carbon capture. You're not going to take my land, that sort of stuff. And they had a case. Like it was eminent domain for private gain, and that's always controversial. And so there was a huge split amongst the Republican Party where the professional class said this is economic development. This is going to be good for South Dakota's overall economy. We're totally for this. And the South Dakota farming class said, that's my land that you want to take for the private gain of this Iowa company. We're not going to stand for it. And they created a massive grassroots, genuinely grassroots political movement that unseated over a dozen, I think it was, incumbent state legislators in the last or in the most recent primary election. And including like members who had been in the South Dakota state legislature since the 1990s in various capacities. And so you have this massive upswing in power for that populist part of the Republican Party. And Toby Doden, who's running in the Republican primary, bankrolled a lot of that. He has very fringe political views, um, but it's a question of whether John Hanson and Toby Doden will split that more right-wing vote and allow Dusty Johnson to sort of sneak through, or whether either Hanson or Doden can sort of coalesce that wing of the party. And then the other X factor is the incumbent governor of South Dakota is this West River rancher named Larry Roden, who is Kristi Noem's lieutenant governor. And then when Kristi Noem moved to Washington, he got the job. And it's sort of uncertain at this point whether Larry Roden's going to run for governor. He's said that he has, and then he said that he hasn't, and then more recently he said, yes, I'm going to. But some people sort of question how how strongly he feels about that. And so the question becomes, does Larry Roden really go for it? Or is he eventually going to sit back and sort of coalesce behind Dusty Johnson? Um, and so those are the big factors is can John Hanson and Toby Doden compromise? And is Larry Roden really, really running for governor? Or is he saying he's running for governor right now as sort of a bargaining position?